You aren't failing. Statistically, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're in the middle. You have a functional job, stable health, and a life within the standard parameters. But it doesn't feel like that, does it? When you look at your trajectory, the word functional sounds like a euphemism for obsolete. Normal feels like a death sentence. And average brings the bitter taste of a race you lost without even knowing you were participating. It's an interesting glitch in our modern system. We've reached a point where being in the center of the curve generates the same anguish as being at the bottom of a pit. Let's talk about the performance horizon. Imagine a massive circular horizon, vast and infinite. In the past, your horizon was small. It was your village, your neighborhood, maybe your office. Your average was compared to the 20 people you saw every day. If you were slightly faster than the local blacksmith or smarter than your neighbor, you were the absolute authority of your tribe. Your social position was secure because your horizon was narrow. But the horizon has moved. Through that glass rectangle in your pocket, your village now has 8 billion people. And the algorithms that govern that glass don't show you the middle. They only show you the edges, the outliers, the 0.01%. The performance horizon has expanded so far that the center has become invisible. When you post a photo of a real achievement and it gets 40 likes, while a stranger on the other side of the world gets 40,000 for a gold leaf steak, your brain doesn't understand different contexts. It understands hierarchy. In the logic of this new horizon, visibility is the only currency. If you aren't visible, you don't exist. And if you're average, you're invisible. We've been conditioned to believe that potential is a debt we owe to society. You've heard it since you were a child. You have so much potential. It sounds like a compliment. In reality, it's a mortgage on your peace of mind. We've created a validation economy. In this system, your self-worth isn't a fixed asset. It's a stock price that fluctuates based on external metrics. Think about your body. You go to the gym 3 times a week. Your blood pressure is perfect. You are objectively healthy, but then you open your feed. You see the Instagram fitness influencers, people who treat their own bodies like high-performance Formula One cars. Suddenly, your health feels like a lack of discipline. You aren't in shape, you're just not fat yet. This isn't a problem with your body, it's a problem with your anchoring bias. As Daniel Kahneman explains, our brains don't evaluate anything in a vacuum. We evaluate against a reference point. When your reference point is a professional athlete or a 22-year-old billionaire, the average result looks like a catastrophic failure. You're trying to measure a glass of water using a skyscraper as a ruler? Of course you feel small. It's convenient to blame yourself. Guilt gives you an illusion of control. If you feel like a failure, it implies that if you just worked harder, or woke up at 4 a.m., or optimized your flow state, you could reach the edge of the horizon. But look at the mechanism. The system needs you to feel inadequate. A satisfied person is a terrible consumer. Someone who accepts enough, doesn't click the next link, doesn't buy the next supplement, and doesn't stay on the platform for another 6 minutes. We've commodified the excellence myth. We've taken the natural human desire for status and hooked it up to a high-voltage battery of infinite comparison. It's brilliant, really. By turning average into failure, the system ensures you never stop running. You're a hamster in a wheel, but the wheel is made of high-definition screens showing you other hamsters who swear they've found a better wheel. There is a concept in psychology called social comparison theory. We have an innate drive to evaluate ourselves by looking at others. The problem is that we used to compare ourselves to our peers. Now, we compare our backstage with everyone else's stage. You feel like a failure because you're comparing your internal mess, your doubts, your tired mornings, your mediocre Tuesdays, with the curated, filtered, and polished content of billions of people. It's a rigged game. You're playing a game of status dynamics where the goalposts move every time you kick the ball. If you get the promotion, you notice the people who own the company. If you buy the house, you notice the people who have the mansion. The normal you're running away from is actually the only place where reality exists. Everything else is just performance art. So why does average feel like failure? Because we've been taught that the middle of the bell curve is a waiting room for people who haven't made it yet. We've forgotten that the middle is where life actually happens. It's where relationships are built, where health is maintained, and where most human joy has resided for the last 200,000 years. You didn't become anxious by accident. You were conditioned to view your stability as stagnation. But here is the secret the horizon doesn't want you to know. The people at the edges, the ones you're killing yourself to imitate, they are usually just as terrified of the middle as you are. They run just as hard as you because they know that in a world obsessed with the extraordinary, the moment they become common, they disappear. It's an exhausting way to live. Maybe the problem was never your lack of achievement. Maybe the problem is the ruler you're using to measure it. You can keep trying to outrun the horizon. You can keep treating your life like a startup that needs to scale or die. Or you can realize that average is just another word for sustainable. Next time you feel like you're falling behind, ask yourself, behind whom? And more importantly, where exactly are they going? Maybe the most radical thing you can do in a world of extremes is to accept being exactly who you are.